somebody pressed enter soon. So this, I don't think that would be a very challenging one. I don't care why you are preparing for the IELTS test. Whatever the reason is, you have been learning English for how much time now? 2 months, 3 months, 10 months, 1 year, more than 1 year? I don't know. But whatever the reason is, you are here because you wanted to prepare for the IELTS test and you landed in this YouTube channel. Well, welcome to IELTS Juice. Let's start assessing, this time of all the other topics that we discussed, a language-themed essay. The rubric says, some people say that the only reason for learning a foreign language, English for example, is in order to travel to or work in a foreign country. Others say that these are not the only reasons why someone should learn a foreign language. Discuss both these views, actually both views, and give your opinion. So, this is the analyzing the rubric phase, and we usually spend about 1-2 minutes on analyzing the task. So, we have two camps. The first camp believes that the only reason, so there's only one reason why you learn a language other than your L1, your mother tongue. So it's either you want to travel to that country or you want to go there and work. That's the only reason. Other people say, well, no, there are other reasons than that. You may want to have fun. You may want to see a friend. You even want to make friends with people from other backgrounds and other cultures. So we are here to basically discuss both these views separately, and then we need to express our own opinion. From the IELTS perspective, this essay has 3 main points that we need to address. The first camp's idea, the second camp's idea, and the writer's own idea or opinion. And I always say, under exam circumstances, it is a good practice to always choose one of these camps and just jump into the camp and believe whatever they say. It's easier, and at the same time you address all the 3 elements, because your opinion is not different from the other camps. So you choose one, so your opinion is 100% in line with that camp. On that note, let's focus on the candidate's response. People hold different views about the various reasons of learning a new language. That's a very good opening. This is kind of like an attention grabber. So the writer wants me to forget everything else that is going on around my brain and just focus on this topic. While, I like this, while it has been claimed that the central reason can be traveling or finding a job in a destination, it's a destination is correct. Maybe I would have said the destination with the foreign language, the destination whose language you are learning, things like something maybe a little bit better than just a destination. Because you're not learning French to travel to, for instance, let's say Thailand. So people in Thailand don't speak French, they speak Thai. So that's the reason. You're learning French because you wish to find a job in Paris. That's one of the reasons. Anyway, let's continue. Others have brought new ideas why people should acquire this new skill. Correct, good. I agree more with the latter view, So the writer believes in the second camp. Not 100% because the writer says, I agree more. Not I completely agree with the latter view. Let's see. Let's see. I am assuming that we're going to see two paragraphs. Each paragraph is going to be devoted to each camp. And then we might be able to see what the writer has in his or her mind by saying that I agree more. Like I have tendency towards the second view. And that doesn't mean 100%. That means you are somewhere in the middle, but it's like 70-30 or maybe 60-40, 60% or 70% towards that opinion. Let's see, that's my mental frame at the moment. And one of the reasons we create these videos is for you guys to understand the thought process that happens in an assessor or a marker's brain. In one view, advocates claim that if you learn a new language, the chance of getting approval for a visa is countable, will increase significantly. Actually, that's a very good approach because you get visa to travel to a country. You need a visa. Yeah, in some instances, you don't need a visa, but anyway, generally speaking. Or you get a visa, you get a work visa to go to the country. So in either case, you need a visa. This is a very smart move on the part of the writer. The writer is very smart. A visa will increase significantly. Needless to say, I like this structure. It is one of the main criteria. Wow. The writer knows, the writer knows criteria is the plural, is the irregular plural of criterion. And this is wonderful, it's correctly used. For embassy officers, okay, to check whether you get enough, not got, or maybe you have got or you get enough scores. It's better, I know this is correct, but maybe there's a scoring system, maybe. It's not a bad error. This is actually just to correct it a bit, make it closer to reality. For using the language to communicate in their community or not. In their community or not. Okay, fine. And I understand that there here refers to the officers of that embassy related to the country. So by learning a new skill, comma, you will be able to travel to a new place. Place is countable. In addition, so one reason was to show off your ability to survive in the host's community at the embassy. That's a good reason. In addition, most immigrants are willing to go to countries which are classified as developed. That's a good way to say developed countries. These countries have multicultural backgrounds. I need a hyphen here, not because it is at the end of a sentence and you want to show that this word continues. No, multicultural is a compound adjective. I'm going to put the whole thing here for you to see. Multicultural is one adjective describing the word background. So it's not just a simple background, multicultural background. Therefore, if they want to be able to communicate effectively, comma, if, blah, 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 comma, they should know the standard language of that region. Otherwise, they would fail to continue to live there, not be fail. Or they would be failure, which to be a failure has other meanings. I mean, they're more severe. So yes, it's better to say to fail. They would fail to continue to live there. Okay, now I noticed two grammatical errors, and so far in this paragraph, but generally speaking, it was very illustrative. I mean, I very well understood the reasons. The paragraph is very healthy. It consists of two elements. We first talking about showing off at the embassy that you're capable of traveling. And in the second one, if you're considering immigration from an underdeveloped or developing country to a developed one, then yeah, having a multicultural background and then being able to effectively communicate with the people and know their standards would actually help you have a better job. That's very good. That's actually good. I'm okay with it. Let's move on to the second body paragraph. So in this body paragraph, I think we're going to talk about the other camp. Now, the camp here believes that there are other reasons, not just for immigration, work, or just traveling for fun. On the other hand, the supporters of other belief suggest of the other belief, the other. So we focused on one, now we're focusing on the other. Suggests that learning a language can have many advantages, plural, please. Firstly, since employees are usually attracted, passive voice, to candidates who speak multiple languages, we don't have any other words after multi. So it's multiple, all by itself means many. The chance of hiring would, this is a mistake. Somebody pressed enter soon. So this, I don't think that would be a very challenging one. In your real IELTS test, please just make sure you don't make such mistakes. We all know this is not the end of the paragraph. We know it's not the end of the sentence. But don't take any chances, please. Always check your lessons. I'm going to put a lesson in the description below. It's a very good list for you to give a final touch to whatever you have done, especially for those who are taking IELTS on paper. And it's very hard to correct mistakes like this, because on computer, you can basically press delete or backspace, and the enter will be deleted, obviously, easily. But on paper, correct this would be very time consuming. So there are ways to do so. I'm going to put the lesson in the description below. Do check it out. It doesn't take more than 2-3 minutes to read and understand some of the standard symbols that you can actually correct your essay, or maybe it's report or letter when you're doing IELTS on paper. Let me continue. Hiring would be increased for applicants. So the chance of hiring would be increased for applicants. That's good. That's one way. it doesn't matter whether you really travel to the host country, to the destination, to the country whose language you're learning. The very fact that you, for instance, know French in your home country, you can be hired by some major companies that they have clients in France or in French-speaking countries. You can say the same thing for English. Moreover, it is said by many linguists that learning a language has a direct relationship with not only accepting a new culture and becoming a member of it, comma, but also a new identity. Again, identity is countable, so a new identity. That's interesting. We're now taking also a psychological aspect or maybe a societal aspect that you can acquire a new identity. Interesting. As a result, learners would enjoy flexible minds, plural, generalize, as well as characters, again, plural, generalize. Finally, psychologists, that's what I was going for. Good thinking. Good thinking. This is that actually is a good example. The writer has good control over the thought process. This is good. Psychologists, again, we need to generalize, believe that people who are proficient in using more than one language will not face, I don't need two, will not face a mental illness such as Alzheimer as a consequence of learning a new language. Would have benefit for their well-being. I understand what the writer wanted to say. I get the gist, the big picture. It means a new language will help you develop your brain power. So it's like a mental exercise. And it will prevent the Alzheimer's disease. Correct. However, I'm struggling to understand whether this is a punctuation mistake or vocabulary or grammar mistake, like a structural mistake. Both are grammar related anyway. So finally, psychologists believe that people who are proficient in using more than one language will not face a mental illness such as Alzheimer. From here, I don't know what happens. I am going to correct it the way I believe is suitable. As learning a language would have benefits their well-being. And I would remove the word consequence because it has a slightly negative connotation. It's a bit negative. It's a negative word used in negative sentences mostly. Anyway, I had a bit of struggle with this one. A bit, and it's related to grammar. Let's let's not forget the conclusion. In conclusion, although some people suppose that the main aim of learning a new language should be limited to traveling or working out of borders, others believe that the reason behind this can be different. I wish we talked about the items, the elements, they're different. That's my first wish. I also wish that we had another sentence saying that, like, others, including me, believe that blah blah. So the writer's presence is felt throughout the essay, and also mentioning that there are other reasons, namely psychological reasons, societal reasons, and also health-related, health benefit or health-oriented reasons, or health-related reasons. That's better. Health-related reasons for that. So let's look at the band descriptors. Okay. Cool. All right. What can I say here? The task response is interesting because we talked about the two camps and they were developed. But the writer's own opinion was only mentioned in the introduction, and it was only saying that my opinion is somehow towards the second one. The position is addressed, but it's not fully developed. We never understood to what extent is it just 100% to that camp, or is 70%, 80%, 90%, 60%, 51%. We never understood that part. So the writer's opinion is addressed, but not fully or sufficiently developed. Then we move on to the coherence and cohesion, and the main issue here is that in two sentences, the transition between one sentence to another was a bit faulty, and the grammar was to blame. And the range of cohesive devices was very good. I mean, actually, yes, they were used effectively. This is really correct. But some transitions were faulty. I also liked the organization. It was very, very logical. And I understood exactly where I was. Even inside the paragraphs, I knew where I was. So every sentence, every level was to the point and clear. Maybe a little bit work was needed just to make sure that the writer's opinion in the conclusion was there, and that would have made it a perfect coherence for the entire essay. As for lexical resource, the range was sufficient, of course, and I saw some compound adjectives, some less common vocabulary, but I also saw some errors. So I understood the errors, nothing to impede my communication. I totally understood what the writer intended to say, but with some errors in vocabulary and some honest mistakes. And moving on to the range and to the grammatical range and accuracy, the errors, again, the number was relatively similar to the number of vocabulary errors, but this time they affected the communication. I still understood the message, but I had to come in, add words and add words and structures and punctuation to make it meaningful for myself to digest and to understand. Also, we had a variety of complex structures. This is a healthy 6, and the areas where it, we need, first and foremost, we need to focus on task response. We need to make sure that we understand the task, we understand all the main elements, we address them to show the IELTS test that we know what we are talking about here, we know your concerns, and at the kind of like towards the end of this strategy, every main element you present must be fully developed. And for that, we need everything: good vocabulary, correct punctuation, good grammar. We need everything for that. This is a good representative, not the best representative, but a good representative of the writer. There are areas where it can definitely improve. I'm going to leave you with that, hoping that your essays, letters, reports will act better than this, and I'll see you next time. Take care.